Imagine just stepping out your back door, kicking off your shoes, and sinking your bare feet into a totally lush, vibrant, perfectly thick green lawn. Now imagine the absolute satisfaction of knowing you built that beautiful landscape completely from scratch, right? Welcome. Today we're unpacking the ultimate comprehensive explainer on how to transform a patch of bare, dusty dirt into a literal show-stopping lawn. We're going to dive deep into the science, the essential prep work, and the exact step-by-step techniques you need to sow grass seed like a total pro.
Now, take a look at the gorgeous morning dew on these blades of grass. I mean, that's the ultimate aspiration, isn't it? But here's the hard truth. A perfect lawn doesn't just happen by tossing a few handfuls of seed into the yard and crossing your fingers. You have to contrast this beautiful aspiration with the reality of lawn care. It actually requires following some highly specific, methodical, and scientifically backed steps. It's a real process. But hey, the good news is, if you follow the blueprint we're laying out for you today, this lush green carpet is entirely within your reach.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with an intro to sowing, then move on to soil preparation, sowing techniques, post-sowing care, problems and fixes, and wrap up with some final pro tips. Section 1. Intro to sowing. So why choose seed? Well, aside from the massive cost efficiency, because, seeds are just a fraction of the cost of laying down sod, there's this profound personal satisfaction in nurturing a lawn from tiny seeds all the way to established turf. Plus, you get a much wider variety of grass species to choose from, which means you can perfectly customize the grass to fit your specific yard's microclimate. And speaking of microclimates, choosing the right seed based on sunlight is absolutely critical. You literally cannot skip this step. On one side, we have our sun-loving varieties like perennial ryegrass and tall fescue. These guys need a solid 6 to 7 hours of direct sunlight every single day to thrive. Tall fescue, for instance, develops these incredibly deep roots, making it extremely heat and drought resilient. But on the flip side, if your yard is blocked by trees or buildings, you're going to need shade-tolerant seeds, like red fescue or hard fescue. These varieties have much finer leaves and can actually survive in way lower light conditions. Matching the seed to your yard's light profile is step 1 for sure. Section 2. Soil preparation. The crucial first steps. Let me tell you, I cannot stress this enough. Soil preparation is where beginners either win or totally lose their entire lawn project. The seed itself is relatively cheap, but the mistakes you make in the soil will cost you years of frustration. So how do we prep? First, grab a rake and completely clear out all the existing rocks, debris, and perennial weeds. Get it all out of there. Next, you'll use a mechanical tiller to cultivate the soil down to a depth of about 15 to 20 centimeters. This breaks up all that tough compaction, allowing oxygen in and giving those delicate new roots some actual space to grow. Finally, you have to level the ground. This is so you remove high bumps that'll dry out instantly and low pockets that'll pull water and literally drown your seeds. Basically, you want a seedbed that's firm but fluffy enough on the top 2 centimeters that when you step on it, you leave a footprint but you don't sink in. Okay, now let's talk about the science of soil pH. Think of pH as the gateway for your lawn's food. If you look closely, notice how the bands for essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are thickest right in the middle. That sweet spot is a pH of exactly 6.0 to 7.0. If your pH is outside this range, you could dump hundreds of dollars of fertilizer onto your lawn, and the grass literally won't be able to eat it. Why? Because the nutrients get chemically locked inside the soil. Because of this, you absolutely must use a soil pH tester to do a proper soil test. No guessing here. If the test comes back and your soil is too acidic, meaning the pH is below 6.0, you'll need to apply agricultural lime, like calcitic or dolomitic lime, to raise it up. On the flip side, if your soil is too alkaline, so above 7.5, you can apply elemental sulfur to lower that pH. But keep in mind, changing pH is a slow biological process. Let the soil test dictate exactly what amendments you add. Section 3. Sowing techniques. Applying the seed. So your soil is primed, the pH is perfectly balanced, and the ground is level. Let's shift our focus to the actual execution phase, where all that backbreaking groundwork finally pays off. Here's a golden ratio you definitely need to remember. You want to sow about 1 kilogram of grass seed for every 30 to 40 square meters of lawn. Why this specific density, you ask? Well, if you put down too little, your lawn is going to be super thin and weeds will easily take over all those bare spots. But if you panic and dump way too much seed, the seedlings will fiercely compete for water and nutrients. You'll end up with weak, overcrowded grass that is highly susceptible to disease. Trust me, stick to the ratio.
Now, to apply that seed evenly, you'll want to use the expert crisscross method with a reliable seed spreader. First, divide your total seed rate in half. Walk your spreader back and forth across your yard in one direction, let's say north to south, using just that first half. Then, take the second half and walk perpendicular, east to west. This absolutely guarantees you don't miss any tricky spots. Right after sowing, lightly drag a rake over the soil just to barely cover the seeds. We're talking only about half a centimeter deep here. Finally, go over it with a water-filled roller weighing about 50 to 70 kilograms to press the seed right into the dirt. That direct seed-to-soil contact is mandatory for germination.
Section 4. Post-sowing care. The watering schedule. I can tell you right now, post-sowing water management is the ultimate make-or-break factor for your entire project. Let's break down this watering timeline. For the first 1 to 14 days, your seeds are just waking up. They cannot dry out. Seriously, not even for a single afternoon. You need to provide daily light misting, sometimes even twice a day, keeping the top layer of soil consistently damp. Think of a wrung-out sponge, damp, but never creating puddles. As we move into weeks 3 and 4, the grass will sprout. At this point, you can back off the frequency to every 1 or 2 days, but water a little bit deeper. Once the lawn is fully established, you'll transition to deep watering just 1 to 2 times a week. Deep, infrequent watering actually forces the roots to drive deep down into the earth seeking moisture, which is exactly how you build a tough, drought-resistant lawn. Section 5. Problems and fixes. Overcoming threats. Look, nature is going to test your hard work. It's inevitable. It's far better to be prepared for the most common threats than to panic when they show up at your doorstep. So ask yourself, what happens if a flock of pigeons decides your newly seeded lawn is their personal all-you-can-eat buffet? Or what if a sudden, crazy storm causes massive washouts and patchy growth? We actually recently heard from a viewer, David, who lost half his seed to a single thunderstorm. These are incredibly common, totally frustrating scenarios.
But don't worry, we've got real-world solutions for you. For the birds, garden fleece or polythene sheeting is highly rated. It physically blocks the birds and acts like a mini greenhouse, which actually speeds up germination. If a washout from a storm is what keeps you up at night, rolling out biodegradable straw mats or even pinning down old nylon window screens can securely hold the soil and seed in place during heavy rain. And what if you have a massive area and you just can't cover it all? Well, the easiest trick in the book is a diversionary strategy combined with overseeding. Simply sow 50% extra seed, half for the birds and the weather, and the rest for your gorgeous new lawn.
Section 6. Final tips, pro secrets. We're nearing the end of our journey today, which brings us to these insider secrets that will easily elevate a pretty good lawn to a truly professional-looking turf. Please, whatever you do, avoid these common beginner mistakes. Number 1. Never just dump loose soil over existing weeds or vegetation and throw seed on top. It will absolutely fail. Number 2. When weeds inevitably pop up alongside your new grass, do not panic and spray herbicides immediately. Wait until you've mowed the new grass at least 2 to 4 times, otherwise the harsh chemicals will kill your fragile new grass. And finally, always use a starter fertilizer that is high in phosphorus. This stimulates explosive root growth. And finally, just to reiterate our golden rule, never, ever let those germinating seeds dry out.
To wrap this all up, while this explainer arms you with a highly comprehensive scientific blueprint for success, gardening is fundamentally a local game. Always be sure to consult with your local extension office or gardening experts to adapt these exact steps to your specific regional climate and unique soil conditions. Well, you now have the knowledge, the strategy, and the tools. The only question left is, when are you going to start building your perfect lawn? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and happy seeding!